If those police did abandon a position rather than lean into a physical clash, that's a tactical choice. But even that, I want you to know tonight, contrasts with recent scenes like this in a far less vital national security zone. This was not the U.S. Capitol, but rather a scene on the streets of L.A. where officers were engaging extremely physically to escalate and hit and strike Black Lives Matter protesters, hitting them with batons, shooting projectiles when they were reportedly standing there with their hands up. That's how some officers were dealing with, as you saw there, peaceful protesters in the light of day who were nowhere near the vice president or the entire Congress. It looked like state-sanctioned violence, a contrast to this treatment of Trump supporters who weren't peaceful, who breached federal property, who threatened officers, and worse. This is where the double standard goes beyond some of that big picture structure I mentioned, whether at a policy level the Capitol was properly staffed and protected. And we get into some of these personal interactions. Here's an officer assisting someone during these criminal riots, pouring water in their eyes to reduce the impact of the tear gas that the same officers themselves dispersed. This is what it looks like when, even amidst an ongoing emergency that included a death, an officer goes out of their way to assist people on the scene in the trespassed area. A total contrast to police actions at many BLM protests, where peaceful protesters were tear gassed, then they were fleeing, they weren't on any trespass property, they weren't rendered any aid to reduce the impact on their eyes or their health. These are facts. Now, this report tonight is not trying to proclaim what the ideal tactic is in every policing situation. This report is showing the facts of an American reality. But let's be clear. These are facts that many would rather ignore or minimize or lie about. This is America. This is the double standard that many would rather not face. On the left, the police rendering aid to people in a crowd while they were still actively breaking the law and trespassing, breaching the Capitol at a crime scene that included a killing. On the right, police treating black and brown people and other BLM supporters who, by most accounts in the public square, were not breaking any law, certainly not trespassing. I got to tell you, as part of my job, this is where words themselves also can fail us. Because this double standard, it can make even simple terms pretty Orwellian. As journalists, we refer to the police and federal agents as law enforcement. It's supposed to just be like a factual term, nothing more than that. But take a look at a member of the Capitol Police in riot gear who appears to be escorting a lawbreaker, a person who broke federal law, you see there, down the steps, and then releasing the vast majority of these people, not arresting them. The people inside the Capitol were breaking the law. They were in an active trespass zone. They also broke other strict laws that protect federal buildings. If a person is helping walk them out in the middle of that law breaking, can we accurately call that law enforcement? Because they're not enforcing the law in that moment. It's broader, of course, than any picture that goes viral, any single moment. These recent BLM protests in Washington, for example, were largely peaceful. There was not a single breach of the Capitol, for example, but D.C. police arrested 289 people in one day at those recent BLM protests and 427 over 4 days. You see there. They made just 41 arrests yesterday amidst a criminal and national security breach that the U.S. has not seen at this Capitol since 1812. If you take the larger count of arrests beyond the Capitol, by the way, it jumps to 68, but 41 of them in that criminal mob at the Capitol. Those are some numbers. They may not go as viral as some of these pictures and videos, but they're that larger factual context. And after the many hours that this played out yesterday, after Mitch McConnell was so moved to call it an insurrection on the floor of the Senate after the world rebuked the United States, then the feds under the Trump administration found their way to filing their first charges today. And we heard more Orwellian words from the FBI, which, of course, Donald Trump has systematically pressured and hollowed out its leadership. I can report for you the FBI now claims they're doing basically a manhunt. They're seeking information, they say, to identify and to find these people. I'm sorry. How are you going to do a manhunt for people who spent hours doing their crimes on live TV and then, as I just showed you, got escorted out by those officers? Why is this FBI under this administration claiming to seek information when you have people who told the New York Times their names while taking time out of their crime scene to pose for a photo, holding up the Speaker of the House's stolen mail, or this Trump supporter walking out of the Capitol with the Speaker of the House's lectern? Spare us the jargon about seeking information to find these people. When you let these criminals walk in and out of the seat of government, this contrast. This is America. This white man there, leisurely sitting at the desk of the elected Speaker of the House of Representatives of the United States. A police response so lax, he had the time to gloat and pose compared to how police instantly arrested the woman you see on the right. She committed no visible crime. She was protesting the police shooting of Alton Sterling in 2016. She said she was exercising her free speech rights. Police took her away on a charge of obstructing a highway. All of these interactions demand scrutiny. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.